If you're alone, this story may shake your heart deeply. Turn off the lights, take a deep breath, because terror is about to knock at your door. The night was unusually still in Istanbul. Even the distant sounds of traffic and late-night chatter seemed swallowed by a heavy, oppressive silence. In a small, unassuming apartment, a group of friends, Aslı, Cem, Merve, and Burak, gathered for what should have been an ordinary movie night. But the ordinary had vanished. That night would become a descent into terror. It started with small anomalies, a television that turned on by itself, whispering static through the speakers, doors opening slowly, then slamming shut with violent force. The friends laughed nervously, attributing it to faulty wiring or the building settling. Yet a chill hung out in the air, not from the weather but from something unseen, something hungry. As the hours passed, the events escalated. The shadows in the corners of the apartment seemed to move independently, stretching toward the friends, coiling like living tendrils. Merve felt a hand brush her shoulder, cold and solid. Yet when she turned, no one was there. Cem saw a figure in the hallway, tall, dark, faceless, watching him with a presence that made his skin crawl. The phone on the table began to ring. No number, no name. When Aslı answered, silence first, then a whisper, guttural and ancient. "You are mine. I have always been watching." The friends tried to leave the apartment, but the doors would not budge. Windows were sealed by invisible pressure, and the air thickened, making every breath a struggle. Fear gripped them as the shadows grew bolder, twisting and coiling around furniture, stretching toward them with long, dark tendrils. At first, the activity was subtle. Books fell from shelves, lamps swayed, chairs tipped over. Then objects moved with violent intent, propelled by unseen forces. Burak was thrown across the room, colliding with a wall, leaving him bruised and disoriented. Merve screamed as invisible hands clawed at her face, leaving deep scratches. Aslı and Cem were immobilized, feeling their very souls pressed down, unable to move or call for help. The friends discovered a connection, an old social media account, abandoned, linked to dark rituals and summoning practices. Messages appeared on their phones, each more threatening than the last, written in symbols none could understand. Every interaction drew the entity closer, feeding on their terror, gaining strength. At night, sleep offered no refuge. The entity invaded dreams, turning them into living nightmares. Each friend saw shadows twisting into grotesque forms, faces of ancient malice reaching out, whispering promises of death and possession. The boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. Desperate, the friends called a local imam experienced in dealing with jinn and curses. He entered with holy water, candles, and verses of protection. But the apartment resisted. Shadows danced and coiled, forming humanoid shapes that lunged at him. The air vibrated with whispers, guttural and mocking. "You cannot stop me. I am everywhere. I am inside you." Attempts at exorcism failed repeatedly. The entity manifested, fully becoming a dark, towering figure. It spoke through Aslı, her voice alternating between her own and a monstrous, inhuman tone. "Submit or die." Objects flew violently, smashing into walls and floors. The temperature shifted from freezing cold to suffocating heat. Every breath was a struggle. Fear fed the entity, strengthening it further, making it almost impossible for the friends to resist. Hours stretched into endless terror. Burak was pinned to a wall, invisible hands squeezing his chest. Merva's body convulsed violently. Suspended in midair, Jem screamed as shadows twisted around him, forming grotesque faces inches from his own. Asla's voice became the vehicle of the Jinn, commanding, threatening, promising doom. Finally, they discovered the origin of the curse. The abandoned social media account contained links to an ancient ritual, performed long ago in the same building. The ritual had summoned a powerful Jinn, one that had grown intelligent and cruel, waiting for anyone to stumble upon it. In a desperate final act, the friends destroyed the devices, burned all ritual notes, and recited prayers with every ounce of strength. The Jinn screamed, a sound so deep and horrifying it seemed to shake the walls and their very bones. Shadows writhed, towering over them, but gradually the entity began to vanish, retreating into darkness. Exhausted, injured, and terrified, the friends survived, but the experience left permanent scars. They moved out, but the apartment remained cursed. Neighbors reported whispers in the night, doors slamming on their own, and figures lurking in corners. The social media account still existed, a silent beacon for the Jinn to watch and wait for the next unsuspecting victims. The story of Dabbe 3 is a warning. Some entities are patient, intelligent, and cruel. They wait in shadows, in forgotten places, and through our own technology, they reach out to claim the unwary. And somewhere, unseen, the Jinn watches, listening, waiting for its next chance.
What waits behind the door, you'll discover in the next video.